so Facebook will go live now. Deep breath, deep breath, deep breath, deep breath.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here, you can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space. With the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I'm happy. Clap along. what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Here come bad news, talking this and that. Well, give me all you got and don't hold it back. Well, I should probably warn you, I'll be just fine. No offense to you, don't waste your time. Here's why. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Hey, go. Bring me down, can't nothing bring me down. This love is too high, bring me down, can't nothing bring me down. I said, bring me down, can't nothing bring me down. This love is too high, bring me down, can't nothing bring me down. I said, clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Hey, go. Bring me down, can't nothing bring me down. The love is too high, bring me down, can't nothing bring me down. I said, because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Hey, clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do.
Hi everyone, welcome to our first episode of Titan Express. I am Peter Nelson, I am the host for today, and I am also a fresh graduate from NUS. We have our short Q&A at the end of the session, so stay tuned all the way and leave your comments on Facebook and YouTube. Follow us on Titan's LinkedIn. Today, we have our first guest, Marc Goh, CEO and founder of Design Prodigy, to share with us his insights and views on how fresh graduates can stay employable during this pandemic. Marc, thank you for being here. Great to have you on the show today.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
So Marc, let's begin. And please share with us your thoughts on how the current pandemic has affected job employment.
Okay, so the current pandemic, at least from my point of view, is actually quite serious. I wish it's not so serious, but that's reality, right? All right, so I just checked the statistics from MOM side. The data was dated with March. I felt that until now it's July, I think a lot has changed since March. So I think it's better to get some other survey as an indicative, right, since it's quite global. I found one from CMO survey that survey all the leading marketing leaders, and they have did a special COVID-19 edition survey with all the marketing leaders at US. Let's look at some figures for have a sense of reality. Number one, according to the survey, 9% of the marketing jobs have been lost already on average during the pandemic, at least from the marketing side. And actually 24% of the marketing leaders anticipate this job that they lost will not return. So that's one slice of a data that indicative of this particular recession is a bit different. Second is that I think let's have some clarity into some kind of other numbers to understand the situation. The sales revenue dropped about 18% on average, all right, US side, and of which 17% of the marketers report a loss of over 50% of the revenue. That's quite significant. So on the average, 2/3 of the company has reported sales losses, whereas only 1/3 actually make more money during this period. The question is, how long will this last?
Yes.
The cities over the world are slowly opening up. And I do see reports that there are some recovery, there are some good sales. But on one hand, the sales go up. I read that the sales on online dropped. And the amount of sales goes up. Some so far do not predict that they could recover from the loss of the last few months. The situation in the next few months is very critical because July to September actually is a good period. But we're going to hit winter soon again, right?
Yes.
And with the second wave. So the situation is still uncertain. The recovery do not predict to be very swift, and there are many reports to talk about prolonged recovery. And therefore, it is normal that the job market is affected.
Yes.
I just want to add that, in my point of view, it is not so good, and it may get worse. But from our own point of view and the study, is that it will still pass. This stage will pass. It could be as early as, let's say, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, 18, 24 months, but over time, this stage will pass. So as for fresh grad moving forward, looking at this stage now, do not see the situation now. It is bad. And I remember when I was graduating in 1996. 1996 was quite safe because the 1 year later was the Asian financial crisis, 1997. I have friends who couldn't find a job for 6 months. But fast forward today, I have a good job now, 5-figure salary, great career. So the question is, the point is, do not panic. It will pass. Take this time, no matter how long, to position yourself so that you will take advantage of the recovery. So I think that's my main message for this part.
That's great that we have at least some positive feedback so that graduates like myself don't have to fear for not having a job for more than almost 1 year, I guess. But since a lot of young people are struggling with the side effects of this pandemic, how should they proceed with their current position and perhaps wiggle their way into their career path to make them straight on their career path?
Yes. Okay, so it's actually a complex problem. So I think I'm the first speaker, so I'll try my best. So everybody's different, every industry different, every job's different, all right? So I would just like to contribute some technique that we can learn from marketing that we can use in this kind of situation, and also adapt it that is sort of quite relevant to the pandemic situation, okay? Number one, first and foremost, for young graduates, right? Know yourself. Yep. I mean, you're like 21 to 23-year-old, 25-year-old. It's not young anymore. Hopefully you know yourself better. Okay, never mind. I know there's some part like me mature a bit slower. So for those who don't know yourself, take this time to discover more about yourself, all right? Because if you do not know yourself, you are fighting a battle with a hand tied behind your back. It's the minimum that you can do, know yourself. Know your strength, know your competence, know your core competence. Know what you're strong in and what you're weak in, what that you can take on, your threshold of pain, and what kind of appetite for risk, what kind of preference of working style, environment, what kind of leadership you like to follow, what you like, at least you know what you don't like. Know yourself. After you know yourself and core competence, try to talk to seniors, talk to industry leaders. Know what does the market need. What does the employer need? Every industry needs different people. Some they need people who are very quiet, hardworking, and get it going, and don't make mistakes. But some need help to transform their company to prepare for a future.
Yes. Agreed.
Okay, that's tough. If your leader is a 50, 60-year-old, they're also facing a tough time to figure out what to do now, right? They need help, all right? So if your qualities could be a potential solution for them, I think they'll be most likely to bring you under their wing and coach you and let you have a little stage of this time. But that said, not everybody is the same, okay? So at least minimum as a principle, know the demand of employer side. Depending on which industry. Big companies, the big company demand, small SME or startup have their own separate demands, all different. Now you know yourself, now you know the market, right? But it's still not enough. You still need to know the third thing. You must know your competition.
Yes.
Okay, so a lot of people looking for, there's not many jobs, and a lot of people looking for the same jobs, right?
Yes.
Okay. I want to open your mind. So what happens is, don't get scared, don't worry, it's the reality. One thing that we realized from this pandemic is the remote working, work from home. And it works. What it means is that you must know your competition is not just a local competition. You're also fighting global competition. Okay, let's pause and let's think it for a while. But you can also compete with other people who are at the higher salary places or more expensive places. The thing is, we are part of a larger pool of supply of labor or knowledge workforce. All right, keep that in mind. Number two, not only just local and global competition, be mindful that you don't fall under the situation that you're competing with robots. If you are looking for a role that could be easily automated by robotic process automation or intelligent automation, which is what I'm going to teach now, right? Then you may get a job for 2 years and 3 years, and then there's a critical issue later on, okay? It's going to be very fast in these 3 years. So the third is know your competition, local, global, and make sure you don't compete with robots, all right? Now, when you know your competition, you know their respective strength. Like example, if the rest of the competition are the same people, they talk the same, the CVs are all the same, then you be yourself. Focus your strength, let the authentic part comes out. That will differentiate you, all right? Focus the time. Let's say you're sort of got time on your hand now. Invest in skills or projects that can differentiate you against other people, local or global, that you have a chance to your prospective employer. There are many types of employer who are looking for different qualities. If you know yourself, you know exactly which type of employer you want, which industry, or even possibly which company. You can position yourself from the perspective that will favor you versus the competition. All right. So essentially, these are three considerations: know yourself, know the demand from the market, from the employer market, know your competition, and position yourself. Okay. You have time, so invest those time now. All right. On this, I also want to do some very practical tips. So these are graduates in 2020. Okay, not my time, 1990 something. Okay. 2020 already, come on, right? I think for a fresh grad right now, and if you're sort of like you have some difficulty, and I did interview a few, and I feel the anxiety, like I'm being left behind. So the first and foremost, know that you're not alone, okay? You're not alone. Not just you in Singapore, but globally, a lot of graduates felt the same way. Mm-hmm. The thing is, put it to action. Number one, first work on your personal branding now, based on your 3 positioning, right? You can find a position. Work on your personal branding. If you have not set up a LinkedIn profile, do it now. Don't wait anymore. Now, I'm going to assume most graduates want to be executives, right? Okay, yeah. It's a knowledge worker. There are other aspects of workforce that I will not cover. I'll cover what is my strength, which is the executive, the knowledge workforce kind of role. You just set up your LinkedIn now, okay? And there's so many materials out there, whether it's YouTube or whatever, on how to set up a very great profile. Okay, have a great camera, great picture, write about yourself, the authentic self, okay, reach out to people to start connection. Next, now if you've done a study well, you know which industry or which company, right? You can actually in a very measured way. Understand the market. That means LinkedIn, what are they interested in? Find common interest. It is very usual for executive or senior executive to have interest. Some people are like for women empowerment. Some are for youth development. Some are for sustainability. Some is for equality. Some is for whatever. Once you know what they stand for, the company or the individual executive stand for, you can start to, and something that resonates with you authentically, I think you can feel safe to participate in the conversation or in activity, all right? And it's okay to reach out to them or comment on their post to have a conversation with them, be comfortable with it.
Yep.
Okay? And there are many examples I've seen, even as far as undergraduates from Nigeria.
Yeah.
Reach out to me, right? And we talk about things.
Because they're hungry.
Yeah, okay? And that's why I talk about the global competition, okay? So because you do not need to just hire someone who live in Bedok or Woodland, right?
Yeah.
Like what's looking for a job. And I think they speak really good English. So this is the situation, and don't wait now. So do it. Then next is, well, this is connection, right? You can actually do not need to necessarily connect. You can also follow very active thinkers, thought leaders of the field of your choice. Get comfortable with the conversation. What are you thinking about? Those very, they are very active participant on LinkedIn. They're actually quite senior level. You will know what they're thinking about. You can see the conversation. And I'm quite sure there are a lot of conversation is very professional. They'll know what's the top of the town at a level, right? And you can be part of the solution. At least you know what is the problem. You know what the perimeter of what they're discussing about, right? And you have time, right? You can research on the opinion and different point of view. Have develop your own voice, develop your own point of view, and able to have carry the conversation, or upskill certain areas that you know is in demand. Okay, I think these are a good start. Next one is the final part. Is like take the time to do projects, do something now. There's nothing to stop you. Like take example, you have a career, you have an interest to start a career in marketing.
Yep.
Right, and I really believe Singapore is one of the best places to get marketing. So, if you want to have interest in marketing, and let's say right now, good jobs not many, okay, and you're waiting. In the meantime, you can start a project right now immediately, on your own, sell something, right? Or go volunteer and provide your skills for a good cause.
Yes.
Practice, that is not an issue of, there are many friends, of them are friends are self-learner, autodidact, just learn and then practice, right? So do that now. There's nothing beats someone who can put theory to practice in the contextually correct environment and produce a result. You don't really need people's permission to do this. Go make it happen. Do more projects in a space that's developing, especially things that need a little bit of deeper skills, especially things that you need to really dig in and learn a bit more, all right? And start doing it. Because doesn't mean you join a company, you have a chance to do all the stuff. Yeah. So therefore, when the time comes, I am very assured at least you'll beat at least 80 or 90% of the other applicants already, if you're on the same level. Yeah, yes. These are my few suggestions.
I think I totally agree with you, Marc. Coming out from university, having a broad horizon towards me, I was hungry for success. So I chose a non-traditional path of going into marketing, even though I studied electrical engineering, and I felt that it was the best choice I ever made because every day was a constant bombardment of projects, communication skills, and just thinking in a very broad and open-minded sense. So Marc, I need to ask you this. Is DP actually hiring someone now?
Actually, yes. So we are very lucky to be accepted for the SG United traineeship program. So we actually have still one more slot. And it's a very precious slot because this could be our last slot until we see an upturn in our activity. And we're really keen to look for this person as well. So some background. So Design Prodigy hires polymath. We use a polymathic approach. We look for people with wide interests, who love both art and science. have multiple interests, and they can go deep. They can go deep. So over here, we look for them, and then we put them in the pressure cooker, like what you're going through now, to activate the furnace so that you can put all the knowledge to melt them in a certain way. Okay, it's basically machine learning at 100x go through, and it forced a certain mental stimulation to raise to a certain level so that something comes out of it. We are looking for last slot, and it's very specific. We're actually looking for a person who aspire to be a creative director.
The types of qualities needed for a creative director.
You want to lead a team of creatives for the future, because the future creative is actually very difficult. It's not the past. It's not a creative for like an advertisement or a certain concept of launch. It's actually end-to-end 24/7, always on. How do you do a moments-based marketing when all the creatives inserted correctly? You have to be really good at technology and, like for example, the concept of moments, controlling moments. So we believe a person with this intention and wants to aspire to be a really great creative director because he actually create value.
Yes.
We believe this person should start his first career as a marketing technologist. And so we actually have this role for marketing technologist for a person who eventually aspires to be a creative leader, who knows not only how to conceptualize creative plan, but able to direct the technicalities to make it happen. Right? So that's the role now. I mean, if anybody knows some hungry and guy who wants to of the future, come apply at us. We'll be happy to meet you.
So, guys, I know you are on Facebook and YouTube. Please leave your comments, and we will actually have a Q&A at the end where we actually answer your questions live. So, Marc, moving on.
Yeah.
They say that people have to make this exponential professional jump, or this mind-boggling mind expansion after joining DP. What do you mean by this, actually?
Well, yes. So we've been transformed 4 years ago on this path. So before that, DP has been around for 10 years. And something happened 4 years ago. So we realized when AlphaGo beat Lee Sodo in the game of Go, 4 games, right? 5 games. The machine AlphaGo win 4. And Lee Sodo won the only game that a man beat AlphaGo I remember it's called a touch of God. It's really dramatic just to win one game. I almost cried that day. But then the last game he lost again. It was almost really hard we go head on with the machine that a human could make sense. When you have a very defined goal and you iterate through, human don't do as well as a robot. That was 4 years ago. And I really know, we checked the scan that the automation was actually quite awesome already. It's just that I don't know. So the first lesson I realized is, if you're ignorant, you don't know, does not mean it's not happening. It's happening, I don't know. So the moment I know, I was literally taken aback. And I decided, after think through what can we do that the robots can't do, what a human really can do, and that can be applied to something meaningful. All right. So what I realized, what is meaningful in the world of exponential increase are all very difficult.
Yes.
Very difficult, very complex and difficult. So what are we going to do? Because I was struggling back then. I also, similar to you, I have a graduate degree in electrical engineering, right? Also NUS. So
correct.
I'm a Sixiong, right? And I can do. I thought I was very confident. I was very confident with machine. But when I saw the latest, like Marc Goh, you can learn to operate like a technician, but can you really drive it like an F1 driver? And I realized you need a certain change of dimension of views. You cannot just see things normally. And so I frame it what I call the mainstream thinker or linear thinkers and non-linear thinkers or non-mainstream. So, which is also why we go on the pathway of polymath. But there's no example in the world for me to copy from. I don't know how to train them. I do not know how to, how to even design roles for them and how do you even promote them, right? So I'm going to start everything from scratch. Then I realized, and over the last 4 years, because of we do a lot of experiments with the interns. We do a global challenge internship. So they give me a lot of data. And I discovered under certain conditions, certain configuration, human mind can jump. So what is a jump? So that means if your first day the interns are very bright. People are joining us, they're bright. They like difficult things. But they tend to learn in a certain pace, and they solve problems slow. In a certain pace, I would say certain pace, don't say slow, okay? But I'll give you one example. What happens is that after you jump, they could solve things way faster. And if you give them multi-variable things that's very demanding, and they were able to absorb it and able to crack it in a relatively short time. As a proof of example, like in the past, remember the first 10 years when I was running Design Prodigy, right? I would have colleagues who will maybe take 7 months to learn something.
Yeah.
To learn something, and then they will tell me it's very hard to do, it's difficult. I think we don't need to be so difficult. And now we have colleagues who can learn something way difficult in 7 weeks and get certified. Way difficult, right? And we are facing difficult world-class problem at Fortune 500 level. And this guy is only like few weeks old. How is it? Typically it's unreasonable. But if the mind condition is good and we know how to work as a team to connect the dots and make sense in a very complex manner, you can actually, for that case, it was quite dramatic. We faced a problem at the 5th week. The 5th week in DP, the 7th week, we solved it. We matched the person's knowledge and understanding of the system in 7 weeks. It's okay now. So it is possible. The brain seems to, I think there are some people who are born genius, they could do it like this, right? But I find intriguing that what is called reasonably smart people, who is put in certain conditions, they can actually have a jump in cognitive performance to solve more complex issues. We're not talking about deep science. We're just talking about general complexity. You have to learn many disciplines to try to solve the things very quickly and effectively. So when I've discovered that, I call that jump.
Yeah.
Yes.
And today, as you mentioned, is very competitive. Having this competitive edge of being able to jump within a short period of time, learning fast, applying what you learn, is all very good stuff for graduates today to learn. So how would new graduates propel themselves and put themselves in this kind of uncomfortable situation right now?
Okay, this one thing for when we select full-timer as well as interns, one thing that we look out for, and in fact we have to scare people away at the final stage. We have to scare, like the last interview also scare you. No, the thing is, because we realized something, we always tell people it's painful. They'll say, yeah, painful, yes, I take it. They have no idea how painful it is, right? I was just take an example. There's this current intern batch. It's very painful, yeah, and it became demoralizing, right? It comes to a point. It was funny. It was way beyond demoralizing. The only way you have to describe, you're already in nirvana. You cannot feel anymore. You don't know what to feel. There's no words to describe that kind of feeling. So it is very, very unnerving when you put in a space that you suddenly have no. It's very not confident, like no confidence. Am I really going to cross this? So now, in our term, we call it the valley of death. It is a zone that you sort of can't rely on a previous mental model or the way of approaches to a certain particular problem. And after you try the maximum you can do, and you still realize you fall short.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. That means you enter the valley of death, and our valley of death. And actually, it's a good moment, because that's the moment, if you gain any more things, you jump. Because that's the old you, that's the way you thought. That's the interpretation of the world. That you come to the age already. And it's a very scary place. Because at that point, I cannot push you out of it, neither can I pull you out of that. You have to choose to walk on yourself with faith. What I can do is I can provide security and safety and encouragement. But the person will figure out how to work out. In the moment you woke up, usually that's where we observe the jump. When I tell people this, I can tell you that there's two kinds of response. There's one group, there's maybe I will let you know whether I'm interested. Yes. And the other group is, wow, right, yeah, the eyes literally come alive. So we know who to hire.
Yes.
So I don't think it's about a person willing to or don't want to. Because the world is really big. There are many types of ways to find a job. But And we also know we are actually pretty quite extreme and quite experimental. But what we discovered was it was replicable. And we are seeing people having very fast career.
Yeah.
It is totally not surprising that our colleagues are being poached quite fast, relatively fast in their career. 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, by really huge companies, right? And just choosing to stay now because it's really fast here. You know, you 1 year in DP is like 3 years elsewhere. It's accelerated. So I think we're onto something. And for a fresh grad, when you hear this story, because it's very, very hard to people to understand what is that pain. Is it really that serious? Until they've gone through. So at the minimum, is that you always push yourself what they call impossible or rather unreasonable situation. Fearlessly. Do not have fear. Take a look, ask fundamental, simple question, first principle question. Why is it so? Right? Do not be affected by what people tell you. Oh, cannot lah, you know, your head too big lah. Can't come back to reality. Actually, that's what I get most of the time, every time, every day. There is a line between a fool and genius. We don't know, but I think give yourself a fair chance. Find your limit. Find how heavy you are really, and that's one way to do it is to go put yourself in safe but challenging, or challenge yourself with so-called unreasonableness. Look for things really difficult that people do not want to do. I think that's the opportunity for you.
Wow, Mark, we're getting a lot of questions on Facebook and YouTube actually. So now
Oh really? Oh, I'm surprised. Okay, come, let's go.
questions out. The first question is from Guan Lan, and the person says, "What should I do if I'm not interested in my major in uni?" I think
Very normal. Very normal. Me too. You too, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, this is not official, but I think at least 40 to 50% is the same, all right? So, I mean, you get a uni, I mean, you're only 17, 18-year-old, I mean 18, 19-year-old, I think 18-year-old. So you got to choose a uni, and I mean, what do you know at 18-year-old? I don't know. When I studied for engineering, I don't even know what's really engineering back then, right?
Yes.
So, yeah, of course, not surprised we regret, but you just step down and go through, right? So, the thing is, stay calm. It's okay. So you got a degree. I mean, there are some soft skills. There's good learning skills already. You're not interested in this career. Very normal as well. There are my friends who study economics, economics, and don't want to be economists.
Yeah.
Right? It's okay. It's okay. And that's why the concept of knowledge worker comes in. If you're going to uni, I can assume you're supposed to be rather academically inclined. It's just that you're not interested to further the pathway. And for me, I mean, we are like champion of jumping here and there. Find something meaningful, go after it. If Elon Musk could build a rocket,
Yeah.
I mean, we do not need to build a rocket, okay? But come on. You have internet today, it's 2020, right? Not 1970s, or even during 1980s, we don't have. 1990s also don't have. It's only late 1990s time we start having internet. At that time, the knowledge is not as awesome as now. There's not a problem to access of knowledge. There's not a problem accessing to good experts. And some of them may want to put you under their wing and coach you. I've seen many examples of senior executives who wanted to choose someone who's outside the normal field and they did extremely well. Right? So it's the quality of person. So don't worry, but follow my first 3 suggestions. You don't like it, does not matter. Know your strength, know what the market demands, position yourself good amongst all your competition, then go for it. You'll be fine. Whether is it what electric car, what's new now, molecular biology or nanotech.
I think personally for me, what helped me the most was actually the SG United traineeship. It allowed me
What do you
to
most?
help.
Is it a question for you or a question for me?
Oh, that was for me. Personally, for myself,
Okay, sure.
the SG United traineeship actually helped me to pivot my trajectory of what I wanted to do. Initially, I wanted to be an engineer, but however, I felt my traits and my skills were more suited to client consulting, and I felt that marketing was a good opportunity for me. But however, I didn't come from a FASS background or even an economics background, and the SG United traineeship allowed me to pursue a different path. Yeah. So Mark, I have another question from you, this time from Ziyang. He thanks us. Actually, he says, "Thank you, passionate speakers." So what should one do if we feel quite a gap between what we learn in university or in tertiary education and the industry requirements?
Great question. And I think I like to bring this, how you're feeling not young is very normal, because that's what we feel every day. That's how we feel every day, every single day. Whatever we know is never enough. The world class, there's still a very, very high level. There's still problems we need to solve every day. And I can take a deep breath, say, okay, let's go. Let's it's like climbing a mountain. Like you're gonna go again tomorrow. So if fear is not an issue, then what's stopping you? Clearly there's opportunities already, and fear should not stop you, and you should not stop yourself, right? And just I hope it gives you comfort that we are in that position every single day, and so learning never stops. It's really really didn't stop.
Yes. I think personally for myself, when I left university, I took away the soft skills that I learned, the ability to juggle multiple tasks, stay up late, and all these are very useful when you come to the working world. So it's not that you come out from university without any knowledge. You have to remember that you do have knowledge. And this can be in all sorts of forms. And in terms of industry requirements, once you are passionate about something, go and do, like what Marc has mentioned, go and do it, post it on your LinkedIn, build up your brand, so that when people find out you're doing something, even if it's something minor, and you post it on LinkedIn, for example, you never know who's looking at you, and at the same time, industry leaders will actually pick up on what you're doing, and they do not need you to have this kind of experience, like 2 years work experience. They don't want that. As Marc mentioned, they want people with outside experience. So do not worry about industry requirements or what you learn in school. Go out there and try as much as you can. All right.
Let me just add on to the point. So we have this ungoogleable challenge internship. So we have these interns coming from everywhere except those with marketing background, most of them, right? And we give them world-class marketing problems to solve in 6 to 12 weeks, right? And 70% of them could crack it. Not easy, but it's doable. But you really got to absorb a lot of knowledge, make sense, and then troubleshoot, and then figure out. And then the thing is, coming from different background, actually add fresh dimension, new perspective of the problem. So in the complex environment or multi-variable environment, you actually got a leg up because you came from a different knowledge base. You got more to draw on. So I just want to say that it's not about disadvantage, it's an advantage, right? The one usually that is holding you back is your mindset, or the what you call fear or worry. Okay, once you remove that, just go. You have nothing to lose. And there are many people in front of you that have done this already and done very well.
We have another question, this time from Divya. So what are some tips for money management, especially saving up during a pandemic as new graduates?
Okay, I am quite sure you're not spending a lot of money now. Okay, all the essential, not essential, right? You must know. Maybe some tip lah. Try to seek happiness without spending money. Okay, I think we've come to the end of a certain era of consumerism, right? You keep spending money because the truth is actually it can be quite not easy. During pandemic, people it's not easy to cope up at home every day, right? If you go out to wear masks, you can't really meet your friends. The normal stress relievers are essentially taken away. So as long as you don't need money to be happy, find some place, develop ways, whether it's in meditation, exercise, find alternative, baking, cooking, enrich yourself. Some people find joy by reading classic, whatever. Find other ways that you don't mind. You'll be fine. You'll be happy. As long as you're happy and stable, you have a good base to build on. All right. But if for some people, they tend to just need to spend money to be happy, that one I don't know how to advise. But in the modern day age, I think we are entering a new era, pandemic and post-pandemic, is that if the more minimalist, the more lighter you are, I think your overall survivability is quite high.
Personally for myself, I do have a Excel sheet where I keep all my how much I earn every month, how much I spend on investments, on stocks, and as well as how much I spend. And sometimes I do go over budget, but do not worry about it. It's normal, especially when you're young. You do not know the tips and tricks on how to save as much. Perhaps one day, as you progress and you learn how to manage your money well, you're able to keep most of your money and portion it so that you have money for your goals. That's the most important thing. You need money for your goals, and you have to work towards your goals.
Yeah, anyway, on this point, I also will add that we are just sharing our personal view. So if you want to do one, you can look for the experts.
I'm sure there are people down watching us on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. Do comment and give us the questions. At the same time, feel free to reach out to us as well. So Marc, I'd like to ask you and explore this concept of the exponential mind that you keep talking about. And for people who have just joined us, welcome. We're talking about how the global pandemic has affected job employment, and especially for the youth, and how Marc has envisioned a kind of exponential growth or exponential mind that they can achieve. And Marc, what are your views on that?
Okay, so no, I fully understand some people may find it's very theoretical, like what talking about. So this thing is really there's a university called the Singularity University. So those who don't know, please Google it up now. Singularity University is all about exponential mindset. So once you understand, because the human mind by nature cannot think exponentially naturally. We tend to think and project linearly. Okay, except there's a little problem is that because of the network nature of the world, and with the explosion of, let's say, IoT and digitalization, the power of technology is going exponential. You have exponential increase in data over time. You're getting more and more data, and the technology to process those data, which like I think it's like all the deep neural network learning, etc., are also progressing at an increasing rate. Okay, increasing is getting very fast. So all the bright minds are over there now. So wherever got a lot of bright minds and got a lot of money, things move very fast. And so what happens? So this development underlying infrastructure is increasing, is exponential. It's all going very fast. The only problem is human can only project linearly. And the best part is like we don't really see them. And so we thought they don't exist. Like, I mean, we are very happy with our little bubble. I'm very happy, right? It's left and right, up and down. That's what we did. But this doesn't mean it don't exist. So it is the situation now with the pandemic. We are seeing clearer that things that not unimaginable in the past is actually happening now. People all work from home, and a lot of people come home, and the business can still continue for quite a big chunk of them. All right. So now we've got exponential competition. All right. Okay. So let's say for one, if you look for a job, you have exponential competition now. Now, even for business, by doing this, you're competing. There's a lot of competition as well for your business. So this situation is quite new. It's very hard to imagine, but it is those. If slowly you work out your model, it's very obvious. So you have to start practicing to recognize exponential patterns of clue. Like what is it? And then if you can do it, at least you know you don't wait, because the nature of exponentialness is like nothing. Whoa, it's coming out. So when you realize it, it's too late. We realized it 4 years ago, and we have tried really hard to adapt ourselves to be able to operate in this environment. And it's not bad, but it's not how difficult, right? But imagine if you only recognize it today. You'll take at least 4 more years to reach this level, understand it, because just our human brain just not that naturally good in adapting in an exponential world, right? Now, you heard of the word VUCA, V-U-C-A, right? Volatility, yes. Uncertain, complex, and ambiguity. And this is one of the nature of the highly network, complex, multi-variable world, all changing at the same time. Machine learning also cannot predict, because machine is one single outcome. There's so many variables. It's scenario pluralism. There's many scenarios that could be possible we don't even know, right? So we got to recognize the earlier you wake up to a reality that is a little bit hard to fathom normally. But I want to just give the point is it is sort of doable to start to improve this being more comfortable with uncertainty and changes.
Yes.
And once you get comfortable with this, at least what happens is that you got a lot more opportunity. So we have a lot of great, amazing wins the last 4 years. And we you know, before transformation, we were just a normal local agency. Okay, we have good clients locally, fantastic. Now, the moment we transformed, we started to get MNC client, APAC client, and then just 2 years later, we beat up 4 global agencies to win the SAP account. We're beating big boys. Like, who are we? Just a small team, right? Because when it comes to knowledge, is you can or you cannot. If you cannot, even if you have 10 person who cannot, still cannot, right? So in our world, and we recognize when you understand the grasp of that, we come to a realm is thinking is difficult, doing is easy. You cannot grasp it, it's difficult already. Just no matter what you do, it's no point, you're going to redo again. The question is not right.
Yes, that was a good take. To add on to that point, I say what you have provided throughout this whole 45-minute session is to give the youth the passion to work towards their goals. At the same time, not to worry because of the pandemic. There are many great mentors out there that will guide even those people, graduates without industry experience. So what these graduates need to do is go out there, be fearless, have passion, at the same time, do something and let people know about it. That's what sets you apart from the rest, as well as the external competitions, as we have mentioned before during this live stream. So now we have come to the end of our first episode of Titans Express. I hope you have found the tips and tricks useful to stay employable in these difficult times. So stay tuned for our next episode where we will find out more about employability from other key industry leaders. But before we end, Marc, having been in the industry for a long time, and you know who are the people in front of the curve and are willing to share, I would actually like you to nominate them so that we will invite them to join our series in upcoming episodes.
Man, time to sabo my friends. Okay, so yes, it's true. I mean, I have a lot of friends, and a lot of them are doing really well. But I noticed a few of them, in my opinion, quite in front of the curve. The thing about being in front of the curve is not easy because at some point you're a bit weird. Some can handle better than others, but I know a few person who are thinking really advanced and have actually done it. Okay, I always admire them, so I'd like to nominate them if possible. They can come onto the show and share as well because it's fascinating. Now, why? Because I recognize our way is only one of the possible way for the future. There are really many ways, okay? There's so many ways, and I saw them. I think if they come on to the show, I think it's going to be quite awesome, right? Everybody, hopefully one or two will be, have benefit from different point of view. So here goes. Okay, I'm going to cop out by giving 3 names so that in case at least one will agree, all right? Okay, I want to nominate Rina Ling. I want to nominate Vignan and Alice Yu. Okay? This 3. So see if we can convince them to come on to the show. I look forward to them sharing.
So we have these 3 names, and these 3 guests will reach out to you, and we hope to join us soon. So thank you, everyone, and thank you for joining us, those on Facebook and YouTube. Please make sure to come and like our LinkedIn page as well, the Titans LinkedIn page, as well as Design Prodigy LinkedIn page. So stay tuned for more episodes, and thank you, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here. You can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space. With the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I'm happy. happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Here come bad news, talking this and that. Well, give me all you got and don't hold it back. Well, I should probably warn you, I'll be just fine. No offense to you, don't waste your time. Here's why. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what